Hello and welcome to Chapter 7, the 7 Principles of Partnership. In this podcast, I'll be giving you an overview of Chapter 7 to discuss the 7 Principles of Partnerships. As the book does, I as well would like to first define the idea of a partnership and what it is, to make sure that we truly understand that what it is that we are getting ourselves into and how we should be viewing this relationship between the school, yourself as a representative of the school, and that relationship with the family. A partnership is a relationship involving close cooperation between people who have joint rights and responsibilities. So the textbook takes this to the level where we are, where it talks about the relationship in which families and professionals agree to build upon each other's expertise and resources for making and implementing decisions that will directly benefit the students and indirectly benefit the other family members and professionals. And what I've underlined and bolded here is that really what we are doing symbolically is building upon each other, and what each person, each family, each individual brings to the table to allow us to build upon and construct this partnership. So the 7 principles of partnership, as outlined in the Turnbull chapter, talk about communication, professional competence, respect, commitment, equality, advocacy, and trust. These 7 make a whole lot of sense. And as noted, as you may have noted, communication takes precedence as number 1, and trust rounds out as number 7. The chapter and I will try to make special point that communication does not end here in this chapter, and there's a lot more to it, which you'll see in chapter 8. But also the idea of trust, which is built upon through doing all 7 of these, well, basically the other 6 principles of the partnership. So let's go through each one of these briefly, just to give you this overview as to the 7 principles and how to create these and go through these and think about them. So the first idea is communication. So we want to be friendly. We don't want to be overly formal. We don't want to come in as the person in the suit and we're going to take care of this and get business done. We want to listen empathetically, and I'll make a note of this in other places. This is a big sign of respect. So when you are listening to somebody with an empathetic ear, that's a little bit different than just saying, "Oh, I hear you." Although that's very important as well. So some good listening exercises to go through with the families as you're building a relationship is to repeat back things that you've heard. These are principles of peaceful listening and peaceful argumentation. So listen empathetically is the first step to building peace. And so repeating back what you've heard somebody say becomes really important. And you may think that it's repetitive and boring and meaningless, but to the person, this is a sign that you have heard what it is that they have said and that you are demonstrating some respect. Even if you think you're doing it kind of standardly, I think it's really important that you do repeat back what you hear people say, that you summarize what it is that you've heard them say, because if you're like me in a standard professional setting, typically we're taking notes, we're trying to listen, but we're taking notes and we're thinking about the next idea or the next question that we're going to be asking. So take your time to listen, repeat back what you hear people say, take your notes, but also take the time to read those notes and then to go back and ask deeper questions. And these are other ways in which we can show respect and commitment to the families as well. A little more with communication is just being direct and being honest. I felt that this was a really important point that Turnbull made, to be tactful yet direct, to not blame or point out who's at fault here, whatever it is. Not even to try to find out who's at fault, but to get to the point of understanding, where you can continue to show respect and be positive, but also to be very upfront and honest about maybe some weaknesses or some things that are going on that the families may not enjoy. The second idea is the professional competence piece, and we tend to know this being educators, to be lifelong learners, to continually learn more and more about our crafts. We've talked about this a little bit with the law, and seemingly every single class that you've had in special education, you have a little piece on the law. Well, this class is no exception, and I hope each time that you learn something about the law that you've deepened your understanding of the law. Show respect. The biggest piece of this is cultural diversity, especially if you find yourself working in a school district that is of a different race, ethnicity, religious background than your own. To find out even more about that culture, to increase your cultural IQ, cultural competencies, and to really honor it through the discussion that you have. Part of this is also showing respect is to affirm the strengths of the child or of the family or of the commitment that they are making to the education of their child, and some of even the strengths that you see in the development perhaps of the IEP or IFSP with the child and the children's family. The next idea is commitment. Of course, showing your commitment by staying involved with the family, responding to emails, that kind of thing, or even responding to telephone calls if that is proper etiquette with that family. Being sensitive to their emotional needs, again, showing the empathy. Even if you take time, if you were supposed to have a 45-minute meeting about Johnny and it's ended up being a 40-minute meeting about their job, being empathetic to the family's needs at that moment is listening about their job or the problems that they're having with their job or even the good things. So you never know about those things. You might be left with 5 minutes or no minutes to talk about Johnny and his IEP, but you'll figure out a way to go around that. The next point Turnbull makes, and I wanted to underline as well, is to go above and beyond. And going above and beyond here really means stepping outside of the normal professional boundaries. And not to say you have to do this all the time, but let's say a form needs to be signed and the parents cannot make it in. They haven't made it in for a week or two. Setting up a time to stop by their house or to stop by their work or whatever it might be to get a form signed is going above and beyond, but it's not outside the duties that you might have to fulfill. Equality. Next, sharing and fostering power by providing options. One of the pieces that I love about this course and other courses I teach in special education is this idea that we as educators want to foster strength in our children. We want to give them the power to learn and read and do all these wonderful things, and it's very important that we do the same for our families. Give them the options. Let them know that they have options, that they have decision-making power, and allow them to be a part of that decision-making process. The next piece is advocacy, so creating these win-win solutions I felt was the most important piece out of being an advocate, because this to me says that you can go to on both sides of the coin. You can see both sides of the story. You can see from the school, educator, family, professional side. You can see it from the child side. You can see it from disability studies side. You can see it from all of these different sides, and you are able to create a win-win solution for this. Last but not least is trust. One of the easiest way to maintain trust is to maintain confidentiality. Definitely, this becomes really important, especially depending upon the culture that you're working with, the family cultural background that you're working with. Sometimes trust is the number one idea, along with respect. And so not sharing something that wasn't meant to be shared goes a long way to continually building that trust and showing respect. The last piece here is trusting yourself. This shows that you can step out on stage, you can do these things, you have confidence in your abilities, you care, you trust yourself that you care about these children, you care about these families, and that you are going to follow through with whatever comes your way, with whatever problems come up. You're going to do your best to solve these. And I liken this a lot of times to as I'm giving a lecture, or actually the 5 minutes before I go to class to give a lecture in front of 50 or 60 students. I have to take that leap of faith. I have to trust myself that I'm going to know what it is that I'm talking about. And I typically do. So the book makes this point, and I just want to finalize with this. This trust is the foundation for building partnerships. So how you carry out the other 6 partnership principles will influence the extent to which you will be trusted. So you are able to build trust by communicating openly and honestly, by obtaining professional competence, showing respect for cultural values, going above and beyond, sharing decision-making responsibilities, and advocating for students' and families' rights. This is how you build trust and how you maintain trust, and through the communication and demonstrations of respect and care and competence, you will continue to build really positive partnerships with your families. And before I leave off, I just wanted to mention there were